Hey guys, it's Impractical Gaming, and now that we have a bit more information about the Xbox Series X and the PS5, I feel like we could do an updated video on the next generation of consoles. Now, I did a video about this a couple of months ago, but by then we didn't really have a lot of information about either console, so it was mainly just speculation and conjecture. But now, we can probably get a pretty good idea about where the future of gaming is headed. Granted, we know a lot more about the Xbox Series X than we do about the PS5, but I do expect that will change in the near future. I thought it was worth making a video about what Xbox have promised and what they're planning to do, and what Sony can do to try and keep up with them. Now, unless you've been crawled under a rock or something, Microsoft released a ton of information about the Xbox Series X, which I'll get into now. First, the specs. There's a custom designed processor from AMD making use of Zen 2 and Navi architecture, 8K resolution, ray tracing technology for better lighting and shadows, and SSD storage. There's also physical disk storage still available, which I imagine there will be a cheaper version without it, and it will be capable of playing games at a frame rate of 120Hz, and is boasted to be twice as powerful as the Xbox One X. Now, the actual figures are unconfirmed, but they're boasting around 56 Navi compute units at around 1700 MHz, 8 Zen 2 cores with unknown clock speed, and a GDDR6 memory chip at 560 gigabits per second. Now, it's likely these aren't the actual figures unless the cost of the Series X will be astronomical, but based on what they're proposing, the cost could be around £300 to £400 for the low-end version, and for the high-end version it could skyrocket to £600, £700, £800, probably even £900, which for a console is ludicrous. But if they're managing to actually deliver on what they're promising, or at least be in the ballpark, it would make a huge statement, and a lot of people would feel justified in paying that much. But if you're like me, your average consumer, you really wouldn't consider paying that much for a console. Now, Microsoft have learned from past mistakes in saying that the pricing won't be cheap, but it will truly reflect the hardware that you're getting. So we'll have to wait and see until the specs are truly confirmed. Now, we also heard about the controller, which I complained about to no extent with the Xbox One X. I felt it was too clunky, it wasn't ergonomically designed well for my hands, and it was just a really bad controller for me. For the Series X, Microsoft did say that they would make more of a conscious effort to work on the size and the shape of the controller, which we've seen them do in the past with the Elite controller and the adaptive controller as well. However, other than that, they've not really said anything, so we'll probably know closer to events like E3 just before the holiday season. Now, onto the most important part, the games. In my previous video, I said that exclusives would pretty much make or break the next generation of consoles, and it looks like Xbox are trying to go as hard as they can on the games that they're providing to their players. We know that Halo Infinite will be a launch title, which is great for people like me who love the Halo franchise, as well as third-party games like Watch Dogs Legions, Gods and Monsters, and Rainbow Six Quarantine. There's also talk of Battlefield 6 and the new Elder Scrolls, which we expect to hear more about, coming to the Series X as well. And if that's not enough, there's going to be 3 generations of backwards compatibility with the Xbox Series X, which I hope means that your saves and data transfer over as well, in case you want to continue on with those previous games. To add to that, it seems that 15 Xbox game studios are working on a suite of next-gen games, as well as first-party games being promised, which is really exciting to think about. It's likely that the Series X will be released in holiday 2020, shocker, and I expect Sony to also release their console at around the same time. Now, with all the specs and information that we have, it looks like Microsoft will leave Sony in the dust in terms of power and performance. Now, the question is, what can Sony do to counteract it? For me, there are 3 main things they can do. Firstly, you have to improve the DualShock controller. While the DS4 is good and very comfortable, I feel like they can go a step above and maybe find a use for the touchpad or replace it entirely for something people actually use in games. They could also add a Pro controller, adjustable tension on buttons, better triggers, the works, because while I don't rate Xbox's controller, their Elite controller is very impressive. They can even add a better rumble feature, which is more in tune with what you see on the screen. And if they add all of that, plus the comfortability of the controller as it is, then it'll be miles better than what Xbox has to offer. The next thing they can do is work on upping their performance as much as possible. And while I don't think Sony can or even will try to match the quoted performance stats of the Series X, they have to be able to provide enough performance so that the difference isn't negligible, not just for the players but also for developers. If the performance isn't up to scratch and the devs would rather make games for Series X, it would be hard to pull back from that. Now, I doubt that will happen, but there's no point in trying your luck. And to add on to that, the most important thing, games. They already have a bunch of games and exclusives to fall back on, such as The Last of Us 2, Horizon Zero Dawn 2, Ghost of Tsushima, which are all great and I'm really looking forward to. But to kind of cement yourself and have that edge, you've got to start investing in more third-party games and indie game studios, because that's the one thing I feel like Xbox has a real hold on right now. Their suite of games is insane, and it really helps indie game studios get more exposure and get more support for making more games. This will make the competition a lot more fierce and would give everyone, both players and developers, a lot more options to choose from, which means that in the end, we kind of win. If Sony do all of this and Xbox do what they're promising, then the next generation of gaming would be genuinely so exciting, and I cannot wait for it. Now, we don't know all the details yet, and until we do, I'll probably make another video about it. But until then, that's it from me. If you enjoyed, then leave a like, subscribe, and make sure to leave a comment down below about what you guys think about the Series X and the PS5. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.